Hey everybody out there in beautiful Pilgrim Pines, this is Brian Roberts coming to you live from my studio right here in my own house. How's it going up there? I hope everybody's doing great. Just wanted, if you don't know who I am, my name is Brian Roberts, for those very few of you who may not know who I am. I have been given the moniker, the fantastic title by the youth group of Retreat Rockstar, and I really, truly love that. And for the last 5 or 6 years, I've had the absolute Mansfield opportunity to come and to serve you guys and to play music in the back and act like a idiot back in the back, cracking jokes and being silly. But this year I screwed up and I ended up scheduling an event in Las Vegas that I cannot get out of for this weekend. So I thought I was going to miss. And I was really broken-hearted about it. But Kara was gracious enough to let me phone it in, as it were. So I am recording this little shindig, and hopefully it'll mean something to you. My topic for today is about how music, how I worship through music, how I attain my spirituality, how I relate to Jesus, my Lord, through music. And so, when I first thought about what I was going to say years and years ago, I thought about telling you guys about all kinds of great songs you should listen to that might, you might be able to hear Jesus. And when I actually stepped up years ago, something else came out. I think I was led to say something else. So I'm going to kind of tell you what I say during these retreats. This is a pretty emotional topic for me, so bear with me if you would. Music has always been something for me that you can't take away from me. It's a part of me that is always there, and and for me, I really had to, when I was younger, use music as I did use music. I guess I didn't have to, but I used music as a place to be safe. I was a scrawny kid. I wasn't the picture of awesomeness that you see today. I was in high school. I was 6 foot tall, 135 pounds. I'm 175 pounds now. That means 40 pounds ago, same height. Scrawny, lanky, couldn't get a girl to look at me twice. I was uncomfortable in my skin. I was in Texas, and Texas boys are supposed to play football, and they're supposed to, I don't know, they just weren't me. I was the drama geek and in the choir and I was in the drummer in the band, and and in Texas, you got to have a band, but most people don't really respect the band members or especially not the drama geeks. And so I had a pretty lonely, high school. And but before that, when I was 10 years old, my parents split. And they divorced. They divorced. And I didn't see it coming. My parents were nice enough not to, argue in front of us and that kind of thing. So when it actually happened, I couldn't deal with it. Partially because my birthday's November 5th, and it was my 10th birthday. And I had my 10th birthday on November 5th, and we all had a birthday party, and everything was awesome. And the very next day, my Aunt Carolyn, I called her Lolly, Aunt Lolly pulls up in the driveway of our house in Florida. And she took my mom away. The day after my birthday, my mom had decided that it was over. She was going to stay through my birthday and then she was going to leave. And she got into my aunt's car and she drove away. And I didn't know how to deal. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. And so I did what I could, over the next few weeks, because this was November and we were going to meet her in Texas where she had moved to with my aunt from Florida. We were going to see her at Christmas time. And at that time, my father was like, don't worry, we're going to talk about it and we're going to try to work it out and we'll see if we can fix it by Christmas time. Well, I couldn't do schoolwork. I fell really far behind. I was really far behind in my music and my schoolwork and 4 or 5 weeks later we go to Texas and we get to Texas and we're having Christmas with the rest of my family, and at one point we had driven a motorhome there, and at one point they called me and said, hey boys, we want to talk to you. Let's go out to the motorhome. So we go out to the motorhome and they sit us down in those, I don't know if you've seen motorhomes, but they have those terrible little booths that you see at restaurants with a little table in the middle and they're supposed to fold out into a bed. I don't know if you haven't done that. They're horrible. But I'll never forget it. I'm sitting at this booth and my parents are on one side and my brother and I are on the other side. And my parents say, we're not getting back together. We are getting a divorce. And we want to know who you want to live with. Which, I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but when you're a parent, don't do that. Don't do that. Because, I'm 10. What am I supposed to say? I love you, Mom, more than I love you, Dad. I love you, Dad, more than I love you, Mom. What am I supposed to do? Well, my brother, of course, he has no problems. He doesn't care. He says, yeah, I'm going to stay with Dad. And then he's like, can I go now? Because I got toys to play with. At least that's how I remember it. I'm sure he wasn't that bad. And I was just absolutely floored. I didn't know what to do. And so the only fair thing to do was for me to stay with Mom. So I said, I'll stay with Mom, even though I wanted to move back with my dad and be with my brother. I just thought it was so unfair to leave Mom that way. So I did. I went back. I never went back. I had a stack of homework in that motorhome that I was supposed to get done because I had not been to school. I'd been sick. And I looked at that stack of homework and I was like, well, at least I don't have to do the homework. So I stayed with my mom. And ever since then, I have been really isolated. I was isolated. I'm not anymore, but I was. I didn't have any friends. I moved to a lot of high schools. I went to 4 different high schools. My mom was a teacher, so I was at her school for a little while. I never really made any solid friends. But the one thing I could always count on, was music. And I knew that if I needed to feel something, if I needed to feel loved, I could find a song that would make me feel loved. If I needed to cry, if I needed to just get it out, then I would find some music that would make that for me. So it wasn't that I was always listening to Christian music. I just connected with the music. And sometimes I needed it to escape. Sometimes I just needed to stop thinking and just let the music be brave for me, make me happy, help me. I kind of used it as medication almost. Well, then the older I got, the more I started to, be a part of the church. And when I was younger, I was the best guitar player in the church. And one day I got volunteered to play in front of the church, and I played Don't Let the Fire Die. I was 15 years old. Hopefully someone's playing it for you up there because I'm not there to play it, but it's a fantastic song. And it really just kind of changed my life at that point. I understood that God was there for me, that He, even though all this stuff had to happen, and I didn't understand why it had to happen at the time, and I was mad and frustrated and sad about it, that I knew somewhere through that song that God loved me and that it was going to be all right. And so the rest of the time, the rest of my life, I have poured my emotions, I've poured my soul into music because, life can suck. Life can suck. And, I thought that I was getting into the non-sucky life club somehow, like I was a Christian, and so why would anything bad happen to me? I've got this great big God up here on my shoulder. He's up in the sky ready to take care of me, and so nothing bad can happen now because I got the big bro taking care of me. And that didn't play out. And what I realized is that's not how life plays out. It's not supposed to be easy. As a matter of fact, it's harder when you're a Christian. It's harder to stand up for the things that you believe in when everybody else disagrees. When everybody else is telling you to do things that you know you shouldn't do, and you do them anyway. It's hard, and it's even harder to live with it when you do fail. But I always knew I could come back to music. I always knew that at the end of the day, I could find that place, that I don't know if you found it yet in your life, but for me, I know how to touch God, and I do it through music. And, I was mad. I was mad at God for a long, long time. And it's okay. I guess what I want to say to you guys is, it's never going to be perfect. Never. You're never going to, you're not going to get through Confirmation II or this retreat or out of high school or married or out of college or whatever the next step is. You're not going to make it, and then somehow it's going to be awesome. And I know that's probably not a very happy thing to tell you, but because, you look around the room and you may think, well, these guys are teaching this stuff. They made this retreat. They must somehow know something I don't. They must have the answers. They must not feel pain. They must just be peaceful and awesome and touched by God on a regular basis. And for me, I can't speak for everyone in that room, but I'll bet you they experience life the way I experience it. And that is, sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it just sucks. And you gotta know, you gotta trust that even when it sucks, there's something great that's going to come out of it later. And when I first started doing these talks, there was no end. There was no greater. There was no happy ending. Well, I'm 41. I'll be 42 this year. I know it's a big shock. Don't everyone gasp at once. And I was 10 years old, so it's been 32 years this year since my parents split and this whole story started. Well, as the story goes, I hadn't really spoken to my mother in nearly 20 years because of the divorce and my stepfather, and there's a whole lot more story that I'm not going to go into right now because I know Kara thinks I should probably be done by now. But last year, a year and a half ago, I had just gotten tired. I felt like I needed to contact my mom for some reason. And I didn't know why. And I contacted her probably the summertime, late summer. And I said, I don't know why I'm doing this. because over the last 20 years, she hasn't been nice. They haven't been nice. They've been really mean to me. And my kids, you know, she doesn't see my kids. And I kept asking myself, God, like, what is this about? Why would you do this to me for so long? Why does this have to be so hard? Well, I contacted her and I said, you know, I love you, Mom, even though this is insane and I've been mad at you for so long. And you know, over the last 20 years, I'm no saint. I said some pretty horrible things and did some pretty horrible things. And I said, you know, Mom, I love you. And even though everything that's happened has happened, I love you. And I got my stepfather on the phone, a guy who I got to tell you I don't like very much. Never have. And I got him on the phone and I said, I love you. And I'm sorry for everything that's gone on over the last few years. I'm really sorry. But I love you and I want your forgiveness for anything I've done in the last few years to make you mad, to not like me, to whatever. And he didn't know how to deal with it. He really didn't know what to do. So he kind of put me off and hung up the phone. And that was the last time I spoke to him. And a few months later, 2nd of January of last year, so just over a year ago, he went into the hospital and never came out. Died at the beginning of February. And I didn't know how it was going to play out. I still didn't know what the end of the story was. But I called my mom and I said, you know, actually I was in Texas, actually, when he went to the hospital, just by chance at another relative's house for Christmas. And I stopped by and I tried to make things right. And I know the story's going on and on. I'm so sorry. But when it was all over, I got my mom back. And she's the same sweet woman that she always was before all this stuff happened. And she's, you know, she's spent some time with my kids but why did it have to happen this way? Well, it had to happen this way for me, I think. I had to get to a place where the anger wasn't as important. And you're probably all wondering, what does this have to do with music? Like, why is this story about music? Well, all along the way, like I said before, I found comfort in music. I found catharsis in music. I found God in music. And God hasn't let me down. God has been there the whole time, even though there was a lesson that he needed to teach me, a lesson that I didn't like learning, that I didn't want to learn, that I thought someone else needed to learn. He knew the whole time that I needed to learn the lesson. And so I want to play you guys a song. I played it last year for the first time. It's a song that we used to sing in the Protestant church a lot. We don't usually sing it in the Catholic Church. There's songs that Protestants sing and there's songs that Catholics sing. And this particular song, I always loved the song. But it has just extra special meaning to me now. So I want to play it for you. I hope it sounds okay. So the name of this song is called Stand By Me. I hope you like it. Lord, stand by me when the currents pull me under. Lord, stand by me when the rising waters toss me like a ship upon the sea. You who rule the wind and water, Lord, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Lift me up from the restless sea. When I am lost, when love can't be found, when no one cares, Lord, stand by me. In the midst of persecution, Lord, stand by me. When my enemies surround me, Lord, stand by me. When the tyrant wields his terror and the armies wage their might, when the darkness overwhelms me, Lord, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Lift me up from the restless sea. And when I am lost, when love can't be found, when no one cares, Lord, stand by me. I love you guys. Have a great rest of your retreat.